Okay, now that I have kinda, sorta done a little bit of research, so sorry about that. There is someone I need to speak with, and I actually have the answer to the legacy in my inventory. I just need to remember how to read it. So to do that, we actually need to go find ourselves a linguist. Let me see. I'm actually in the middle of renaming the last save while I'm talking with you guys. But yeah, we are going to be spending today finding ourselves a man by the name of Phenom, who is a linguist here in the Clerk Ward. And I really should not be recording. It is 3:40 a.m., but darn it, I am that determined to find Ravel, my friends. We will find her and get to her at least before I pass out. Cool. Okay, renamed episode 36. Awesome. Welcome back to the Planescape Torment, everybody! I hope that makes for a long enough opening to... whatever.
I'm gone.
So I need to find Phenom the Linguist, who should be like... He is here in the Clerk's Ward, I remember that. Bingo! Maybe I should check Phenom the Linguist's home? That sounds logical. And hopefully by the time I'm done talking with him... Here we go, Phenom the Linguist. I'm here with that book. Phenom the Linguist, get over here. Greetings, I am Phenom. I must beg your pardon, sir, but I have little guests invited or otherwise, so unless you have business with me, I did have a question. Scholar and a linguist, sir, while I happily entertain my questions regarding field study language matters. Well, farewell then. Have I not observed it? Let me just put those back in my inventory. Trying to examine the dodecahedron closely. Examination. Each side of the dodecahedron. Okay, whoops. This heavy dodecahedron. It's a 12-sided object, very similar to a 12-sided die, really. It's about the size of both your fists balled together. It seems inexplicably familiar to you, its texture cold and smooth, but whatever its metal or stone, you cannot tell. A certain, almost intangible tension runs over the object, as if it were ready to spring into the air at any moment. On closer examination, you realize that each side of the dodecahedron is a plate that can be twisted clockwise or counterclockwise. It appears to be a puzzle box or combination lock, as each of the pentagonal plates has 5 possible positions. The dodecahedron has no less than 244,140,625 settings. It would take every second of the next 77 odd years to hit all the combinations, but then you might just get lucky and stumble into the solution in a few minutes. Fiddle with it for a bit. As you methodically twist the cold gray facets of the dodecahedron, a strange sensation forms. At the base of your skull, your hands seem to move of their own accord, turning the object and spinning its facets with mechanical precision. You've done this before. You knew the combinations once, and you also are aware that there is a certain danger within the object. Whether it's from simple traps or something less mundane, though, you cannot recall. Keep working it. In moments, you have what might be the first 4 sides locked into their proper places. As you begin to twist the 5th side of the dodecahedron, you recall a cunning blade trap that would snap out and lash at the meddler's hands, slashing their wrists and severing their fingers. You avoid the trap with the proper number of rotations, certain that you've made progress on unraveling the object's secret. Keep working. After avoiding the dodecahedron's springing blades, you slowly puzzle out the next series of facet positions. As you start to turn the 9th blade, you suddenly remember a second trap, jets of toxic gas that would form like a billowing cloud of lethal corrosive vapor around a curious meddler. You circumvent the trap with the correct amount of twists positive that you've nearly unlocked the dodecahedron. Keep working on it. Circumvent the dodecahedron's poisonous gas trap and begin to work on the final facet positions. Locking the 12th pentagon in place, you recollect sorceress runes hidden on the dodecahedron that would blast the unwitting her with bolts of magic lightning. After disarming the trap, you correct the number of facets rotations. The dodecahedron clicks and begins to open in your hands. The dodecahedron splits once, twice, and eventually unfolds itself impossibly into a perfect rectangular tablet the size of a large book. Etched into its surface is a series of bizarre symbols. It looks to be a code or language that you feel should be familiar to you, but it's not. Further examination of the tablet reveals that by twisting the pentagonal facets now upon the underside of the sorry, I had to scroll down and then my eyes blanked on where I was. It reveals that twisting the pentagonal facets are now upon the different pages may be displayed across the tablet's face. You finally realize that the dodecahedron is a tome or journal of some sort. Till I learn to read this language, I might as well put it away.
My journal.
Okay, linguist, I had some questions. Fold the dodecahedron to a page with writing on it and ask him to translate it. He takes the unfolded dodecahedron in his hands and examines it closely. This language is a long dead one, known to virtually no one. I believe my father, a linguist like myself, knew this language, and may well be the only man at Sigil at the time who could understand it. I recognize it from his notes, but I cannot translate it. Do you have those notes still? I'm running low on storage space. What do you mean I'm running low on storage space? We'll fix that later. They'll be of no use to you if you're looking to translate anything, and the few actual books he had pertaining to the language disappeared around the time of his murder, I believe. I'd very much like to see them just the same. I'd say I'm not for certain where they are now, and I'm looking for something else at the moment. My research journal. Perhaps when I've recovered it, I could spare the time to find those notes for you. Where'd you last have
my
it?
journal.
I'm not certain. It might be at, well, perhaps it's found its way to the brothel citing intellectual laws. But how could that have come to pass? I do not know. Oh, look there. You said your father was murdered. Strangled he was. He left to tutor someone. He taught various languages to supplement his research income. It was never found. There was some, 50 years ago. Language, though, and could not teach it. Someone could teach it. Is he interred at the mortuary?
Updated my journal.
I know, his ashes are kept here. Why? Horizon Christmas. A necroscope, are you? I have no wish to speak with these things any longer. Excuse me, sir. Farewell. Huh. So I could possibly... Oh, another handkerchief. I could possibly find his ashes here. And moreover... Let's see. Yeah. Everyone out. There. Right. Oh, for the love of Sam Hill. Everyone over here. Nameless one.
I'm gone.
Go. There. There's an urn atop a small cabinet full of ashes turned to bone. His bones tell. The ashes seem to stir faintly as if moved by your breath. A faraway voice whispers. Why have I been summoned? These ashes, cold and grey as the heart of a hag. There's some questions here. Ask them so that I might return to my most quiet thoughts. Who were you? I was Finn, a linguist and scholar. I was murdered by a student of mine, murdered so that I could not teach another the language that I taught him, the tongue of Uyo. 'Twas one of the rarest in the multiverse. I knew of none who spoke it save myself and that one damnable, murderous student. Language. I could teach you this language, yes, it would please me to do so, if only to spite that bloody-handed student of long ago. First, tell me what languages you do speak. Can from the spirit. Spirit speaks to you. Oh. Language of Uyo, there is a throbbing sensation in your temples as the memory begins to surface. Memory of this language. You recall letters, words, phrases until, like a spire wind blowing away the blanket of poisonous smog over the great foundry, the language is once more revealed to you in its entirety.
Updated my journal.
There is another memory, bubbling to the surface, a darker one. Its presence troubles you somehow, fills you with unease and explained pangs of guilt. No, I didn't want to repress it! Ugh. Stories bones tell. To answer some questions. Who were you? I didn't want to do that. How long ago was my last save? Ugh. Alright. We're doing it again! I should not be allowed to play RPGs at 4 in the morning. I just should not be. Oh wait, I have to play with the dodecahedron again. I wish I had a fast forward button now. But I don't. So instead we're just gonna do this. Use. There. Boom. 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 And
Updated
I learn
my
the
journal.
language. Okay.
Done.
We're gonna talk with him. Get the stuff. Yeah. Did have some questions. Show him the dodecahedron. Still those notes still. Very much I'd like to see them just the same. I'll find it for you. Where'd you
My
last
journal.
have it? I'll still find it. I'll look there. You said your father was murdered. Knew the language, though, and could teach it. Is he interred at the
Updated my journal.
mortuary? Farewell, Finn. Okay, now everyone in this corner, darn it. Only the nameless one.
I'm gone.
Stories of Bontel on the remains. Answer some questions, Spirit. Been there, describe. Who were you? Describe in the language. Learn what you can from the Spirit. Continue.
Updated my journal.
Allow the memory to surface. Here we go.
Updated my journal.
At last you recall Finn Andle himself. You remember his gentle voice, his kind manner, his schooling you in the ancient language of Uyo. You also remember your scarred, gnarled hand wrapped around his frail throat, crushing his larynx and thus ensuring that the secret contents of your journal, hidden and thrice trapped in the dodecahedron puzzle box and penned in the obscure language of Uyo, would be forever safe from prying eyes. I think I understand enough of the language now. Thanks, Finn. Farewell. So,
I'm gone.
that was just to bring up clarity on the fact and get some extra EXP. But it was, in fact, us who killed him all those years ago in order to get that. But while we're at it, even though we already know the language, why don't we, I don't know, talk with Grace, see if we can rest here. So you're back, what are you? Can you teach me anything? Never mind, let's move on. Let's see, with Fall from Grace gone, I would say that Delora is probably the one that's running this place now. So, maybe I could echo ahead some questions. Can you tell me about this place? Sensates. Darn it. There may or may not be a journal hiding out here yet that we wished to find. Oh, for the love of Sam Hill, why can I never find... Oh, hold on. This is someone else I want to talk to. He's the Tail Chaser. Yes, I have. Tell you the story of the Scary Tell the story of fraud. Read the story of Ignis. Here. The execution. Wait, I had a question. Eves, you look familiar. Is your they're named Ivana. But she and I no longer speak, just as I no longer speak of her. Tell me a story that you've already told me again. Look in the quadrone. Actually, I had a question. Can you tell me... Ravel Puzzlewell. Go on. We already know the tale of Ravel Puzzlewell. Go on.
Updated my journal.
Let's see here. Maybe trade tales. Mort, do you have stories to trade? Me? Why do I have to tell a story? Just tell a story, Mort. Fine, fine. On a dark path, right? Certain of which direction to go. Be traveling to who he was. I was supposed to have unlocked a new story by talking about Dayanara. Yeah, third wish. What will it be? Okay, forget this. Well, there one before him. Your third wish. What will it be? Go on, Mort. Third wish? The man was baffled. How can it be third wish if I haven't made a first and second wish? Go on, Mort. You've had 2 wishes already, the hag said. But your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you made your first wish. That's why you remember nothing. Because everything is the way it was before you made wishes. She cackled at the poor bird. So it is it is that you have 1 wish left. Go on, Mort. All right, said the man. I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am. Funny, said the old woman, as she granted his wish and disappeared forever. That was your first wish. An interesting tale, Mort, and now that I've won for you, my companion, it's called the Phenomscape. Go on. A fiend sometimes wandered the wilderness of the certain prime world in the guise of a friendly old man. One day he came upon Hunters of the Wood. What are you doing? The fiend asked. This isn't the tale I wanted. Go on. Just carried crossbows. So they did not fire, they asked the fiend. The fiend asked them why. Go on. They are unarmed, the hunters chuckled, patting their crossbows. We hunt nothing that does not have the ability to defend itself, after all. Where's the sport in that? The fiend nodded at this and promptly gated in 3 of his fellows. The hunters led them on a merry chase, but eventually they were caught and eaten. I've got another tale to share with you. Ask your companions. Or if you have a story to trade, please share it with Eves. In the 13.7th revolution, we were required to fix gear and cog subset 31 with the 5th mechanism. We removed the construction and the gear, turned as per normal speed. Upon completing our task, we were returned to the source. What the hell was that, you stupid polygon? That's the most boring story I've ever heard. It was what took place, with embellishments, of course. Embellishments? I thought the return source was a particularly fitting image to close the tale. Well, a fine tale, Nordham. I have one for your companions. Flowers and sensates. Oh, Nordham, you're such a bean. Love this boy. And who read much of flowers, treatises, was blind in the way of flowers. Is well learned in the way of flowers. One day he came across a half-blind gardener who tended the sensate's gardens. Who was blind in the way of flowers. That was actually interesting. So your companions. Anna, do you have a story to trade? I am a no good at telling such things. I'm not. It's a show-away idea. Don't not be asking me for such nonsense now. I'd very much like to hear your story. Please share your story, Anna. Come on already, Feedling. You already have 1 tale you won't part with. Going back and forth. Well, I know 1 story, but you might not like it. You won't, so don't be blaming me for choking it out of me. Go ahead, Anna. Scowls, then relents or exasperated. I've heard a story when I was just a wee lass. This Burke's walking home real late. Near empty peak and passes an old toothless crone in a dark, otherwise empty street. Where are you going? She asks him. Home to me wife and Kip, he says. Near the slags? She asks him. Sure enough, he says. So she asks him a favour, to take a box she's got to Deadest Pit and to give it to a woman there. Now this Burke's a real sap. Too nice to say no, despite the fact that he's sure something's not quite right about this old crone. And the